He's the absolute worst partner I've ever had.
And the most recent development is that Jessica Yaniv himself is actually threatening to sue myself and the Rebel for this expose.
Do you think there's any sports where men and women should compete directly against each other?
No.
No? Can you elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it should not be controversial, and it's not a surprise to say that men and women are different and biologically different. You know, when it comes to, muscle mass in particular, when we're talking about sports, we've seen a lot of this stuff happening in the news where, men transition to female and then completely destroy all the female athletes. And like, how is that equality? Like, I don't see how that's equal at all. There was that one guy recently, I forget his name, but he kind of just did it just for the hell of it. He transitioned and then like won some weightlifting and then went back to
No,
male.
I think that was just is either a comedian or a martial artist or something.
Oh,
he just did an Instagram video where he just said, I just beat the female world record. But there is definitely there's powerlifting, there's sprinting, and there's wrestling. That's a big thing.
Oh yeah.
But there are some places, I believe in Texas, where they force them to compete as women because that's what they're going by, their official gender. Do you have any opinion on that?
Well, yeah, it's so unfair. Even like if me and you arm wrestled right now, I have no chance.
Why, thank you.
Even like even if I tried to work out for a month, probably you on a, right when you wake up, you would probably still beat me in an arm wrestle. Like that's just how it is. That's natural, and I don't think there should be an argument about that. I think it's something, men and women are different and they have equal jobs, responsibilities, and things that they're good at, so they do 100% of their own jobs. We're not trying to compete with men. I think that's wrong. I think that's where feminism took a wrong turn.
Recently, of course, there was the stuff about the U.S. women's soccer team and the equal pay in regards to that. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think they should be paid the same no matter what the revenue generated is, for just to make a good example, I guess? Or what do you think about that?
Well, I personally watched the World Cup. FIFA, like the regular, the men's World Cup.
We're being inundated with children. It's all right.
So I watched the World Cup, but I did not watch a single female. It's also the FIFA, right? Yeah. That was FIFA.
Pretty sexist of you to not watch the.
I know, I'm terrible, but I had no interest in it. And it's funny because I knew that Team America won, but I actually don't even know the score. I don't even know the score. That's how, and it was funny, there was my dad, my parents are Polish, so that's where I get my love of soccer, because I don't think regular Canadians really care about soccer. So I get that from my European background, and I remember my dad was like, "Oh shit! Like the finals just happened. Like who won?" I was like, "Oh, it's like U.S." He's like, "Oh, cool. What was the score?" I'm like, "Oh, I have no idea," because the only reason that I paid any attention to it is all the controversy behind what was her name, Megan.
Rapinoe, I believe.
Yeah. So that was the only reason that this tournament got any attention, in my opinion, or as much attention as it did, compared to other years.
Do you think a lot of this stuff, like for her in particular, she was probably pretty snobby about it, in my opinion. Do you think that, because it gets accused on both sides that they're just doing this for clicks, for money, how much of this do you think is for revenue and popularity? Like, we'll just use here, I was going to say Colin Kaepernick, but I won't use any other examples. His is a different story, but how much of it do you think is genuine, and how much do you think is just, because she's on Colbert and she's on all these, she's making the rounds now, and people do that on both sides, but how much do you think this, what is she actually fighting for? Do you think that she's actually doing that, or is it just a popularity thing?
Honestly, it's hard to say, because when the interviews I've seen of her and the videos of her kind of putting, kind of dropping the American flag, all those things, she just seems extremely arrogant. I don't know if she has some kind of motive behind it other than just to get more recognized and known and for more attention. And I don't think, like you said, all athletes do that. I think they have to do what's best for them to get as much viewership to the sport as possible, but her arrogance is very off-putting, and I think in the long run it's going to do a lot more harm. Same thing with sorry to bring it back, but the Kaepernick. I think his protesting and grandstanding did more harm to the sport than good.
Well, yeah, now even people that were on his side are now flipping him off because he took an undisclosed monetary settlement and is now shutting up about the issue, which is, I did a video on this when it happened. Like, they gave over $100 million to charities approved of by 3 former NFL players in an organization that they represent, and then they just stopped talking about it. So they got all this money anyways, and then so it seemed to be just about the money for them.
Exactly.
So
It seems kind of like a greedy, they're just trying to milk their 15 minutes. That's what I feel with Meghan, at least.
yeah, even when she was on CNN, she said they asked her how, I think it was CNN or Colbert, one of them. They asked her how people can better support them and make sure that the U.S. women's team or women's soccer in general is getting the support it deserves. And all she said was, buy more tickets, buy more merchandise, buy season tickets. So show up for the games, basically, is what she's saying, make the sport more popular. But at the same time, they're asking for more money. So it doesn't really make sense to me either.
Yeah, exactly.